that Steve Batty of All Recording in Progress. I'd like to inform everyone that Steve Batty of All Media Productions is making a video and audio recording of today's meeting in public session for Martha's Vineyard Community Television, also known as MVTV. I would also like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communications director, is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting. Is there anyone else making an audio recording of today's meeting? If so, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon, or if you are joining by phone, pressing *9 on your keypad. And when you are recognized, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Ahoy, it's Rich from the MV Times.
Good morning, Rich.
Good morning.
That's all I see.
All right, then. Good morning, everybody. First thing on the agenda is the meeting minutes.
First is a remote participation statement that you need
Oh,
to,
yes. Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, and in line with social distancing guidelines followed during the COVID-19 pandemic, board members are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendances today would be unreasonably difficult. All board members are participating in the meeting by the Zoom video conferencing app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of the members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be by roll call vote. So now we can get into the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Mr. Malkin? Any discussion or corrections? Then let's have a roll call vote.
Jones, aye.
Malkin, aye.
Rainey, aye.
Maura, you're on mute. Wilson, aye.
I'm not sure if Ms. Tierney is able to. Maura, you're muted. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. Not sure.
Well, I guess the
No,
vote was carried.
she's unmuted at the moment.
Maura, can you hear us? Bob or Sean, would you like to call her?
Can you call her, Mark? Mr. Rosen's going to call.
Okay, great. Well, can we circle back if she has any corrections and then we can revisit this? And in the meantime.
Sure, yeah. If she has any corrections, we can take them after.
Okay.
Yep.
So the next item is a Port Council report, and we have,
Joe Solito will be
oh,
presenting.
that's
the
right.
report.
Thank you.
Mr. Solito, you're muted.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you. It's learned about this about 20 minutes ago. These are the minutes from the meeting of our October 6, 2021 meeting. Mr. Roseman reviewed by a PowerPoint his presentation of the August 21st business summary. We then had a discussion about the number of diversions from the Oak Bluffs terminal to the Vineyard Haven terminal. Mr. Davis provided the following updates on the Woods Hole Terminal reconstruction. Mr. Cloutier shared a PowerPoint presentation of the recent activities from the site, including the cost updates showing the change orders. Ms. Sampson shared a PowerPoint presentation updating the background and status of this safety quality management systems project. Mr. Driscoll then provided us with the following update on the website designs, and Mr. Emerson then presented an update of the dry dock of the Martha's Vineyard. Mr. Davis shared a proposed 2022 reservation timeline, excuse me. And then Mr. Roseman presented the proposed operating budget, giving the highlights. And thereupon, upon a motion of Mr. Lowell and seconded by myself, the Port Council voted 6-0 to approve the operating budget. Mr. Roseman then reviewed, excuse me, the September 21st traffic figures and showed the passenger and automobile traffic and other traffic ups and downs. We heard from Ed Athens Washburn, who said that he would be resigning from the Port Council at the end of this year, and he's working with the mayor of New Bedford to provide for his successor. The meeting was adjourned at 10:33 on a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Any questions? Sorry.
Looks like no questions. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, for the late call to the bullpen.
Hopefully the Red Sox will have.
I think we get the gist of what he was going to say.
All right, I had a quick hook, just like Alex Cora, so you can see the analogy.
Next, we have the general manager's report.
Good morning, everyone. And to start with, here in Oak Bluffs Terminal, myself and General Counsel Terrence Keneally are in the lobby. And I'll ask Sean to give a rundown of who's in the bond at the administration offices.
Sure. So with me here is Mark Rosem, Courtney Oliveira, Assistant Treasurer, Angela Campbell, Janice Kennefic, Angela Sampson, Allison Fletcher, and Mark Amundsen. And Bill Cloutier is on Zoom.
How many are in the gallery total?
Okay. So first
Bob, I
item
missed
then-
what you said.
I just asked how many were in the gallery total. Not by
Okay.
name, but just
We have
attendees.
16 at this point.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have the business summary for the month of August. I think Sean will be sharing the screen on that one.
Y'all see that?
No.
All right, let me try this again. Bob, I don't see you now.
You don't see me?
No, I hear you. Hang on. You guys see the screen?
I can see the screen.
You see the summary? Sorry, I just want to clarify, you guys can see the business summary screen right now or just me?
I can
Yes,
see
see
it.
the business screen.
Okay. Bob, do you see it?
Not seeing it. I think I have a bandwidth issue. Hold on one second.
Do you want Mark to start on it?
If you could.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Mark.
Sorry about the impromptu change. So for the month of August, for the business summary, passengers on the Vineyard route were down 19.5%. On the Nantucket route, down 17%. And total passengers were down a combined 19%. And that's comparing versus 2019. Year to date, we're looking at on the Vineyard route, passengers down about 13.5%. On the Nantucket route, down 12.7%. And total passengers combined year to date are off 13.4% compared to budget. And we did budget 90% of the 12 months previous to COVID. And also in August, we did have the, I believe it was Henri who came in and affected some traffic. Here's a chart showing the comparison year to date and by month, comparing the passengers carried combined for all routes for 2020 in blue, 2021 in orange, and the budget in gray. Okay, automobiles carried for the month of August. On the Vineyard route, we're off 2.9%. On the Nantucket route, we're up 0.8%. In automobiles combined, we're off 2.3% for the month of August compared to 2019. Looking for year-to-date difference. For the Vineyard route, we're up 1.2% or 3,500 cars. On the Nantucket route, we're up 9.2% or 4,000 cars. And combined, we're up about 2.3% or just over 7,500 cars. Again, here's a chart showing the breakdown by month of 2020, 2021, and budget. Okay, here's the trucks carried, and we haven't broken out, as we talked about last month, about the pickup trucks. So this is still in the old format, and we're working on changing that over. But in the meantime, looking at the Vineyard route was virtually flat, off one truck compared to 2019. The Nantucket route was virtually flat, but up 8 trucks, and combined we're up 7 trucks for both routes combined for the month.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Miss Tierney said she's trying to get to that, so I'm going to see if
Okay.
we can't get her
Sure.
over here.
Success.
All right.
Hello.
Wow.
All righty. Let's get that.
All right, so for the year-to-date trucks, on the Vineyard route, we're off about 323 trucks or 0.3%. The Nantucket route, we're off just over 900 trucks at 2.4%. And combined for both routes, we're off just over 1,200 trucks at 0.9% compared to the 12 months previous to COVID. Okay, and again, here's a similar graph showing the month comparisons. Cars parked. For the month of August on the Vineyard route, we're off 18.4%. On the Nantucket route, we're off 9.3%. And combined, we're off about 16.6%. Year to date, on the Vineyard route, we're off 13.6% or 13,700 cars. On the Nantucket route, off 2,500 cars or 10.1%. In total cars parked, we're off 16,000 cars or 12.9%. And here's the graph showing the cars parked for each month. Trip summary report for the month of August. We had on the Vineyard route, we had 4 trips canceled for mechanical, 40 for weather. On the year-to-date total for the Vineyard route, we have 34 mechanical cancellations, 138 for weather, and 360 for traffic, and that was earlier in the year due to COVID. On the Nantucket route for the month of August, we had 2 trips canceled for mechanical, 24 for weather. While year-to-date, we're on the Nantucket route, we have 20 canceled for mechanical, 136 for weather, and 29 for traffic. And again, we had the impacts of Hurricane Henri in the month of August. Okay, financial snapshot. Operating revenue in the month of August was $18,929,000, which was lower than budget by $390,000. We had other income of $498,000, which was higher than budget by $139,000. Operating expenses of $9.7 million was lower than budget by $181,000. And then that brings a net operating income of $9,380,000, which was lower than budget by $69,000. Year to date, operating revenue of $88,820,000 is higher than budget by $2,467,000. Other income of $2.3 million, just under that, is higher than budget by $424,000. Operating expenses of $72,488,000 is lower than budget by just under $1.2 million. And that brings, putting it all together, net operating income of $16 million, which is higher than budget by about $4 million. Here's a breakdown of the operating revenues for the month of August. You can see the automobiles were down 5.5%, while freight revenue was up 4.7%. Passenger revenue was off 8.6%. Looking at each category, it comes out to operating revenue that was off just under $390,000 at 2%. So then looking at the year to date, our operating revenue is up just under $2.5 million at 2.9%. In just about every category outside of the passenger revenue and the miscellaneous voyage revenue, which is the concessions, things of that nature, are off. But altogether, we're looking at total operating revenue, including other income, up for the year about $2.9 million or 3.3%. Here's a breakdown of each category where the revenue is coming on a monthly basis as well as year to date. Here are the operating expenses for the month of August as well as year to date. Maintenance expense was off about was lower than budget by $36,000 at 2.7%. We had vessel operations was up $205,000 or 8%, and that's mainly due to fuel. Year to date, month to date, operating expenses are under budget by $181,000 or 1.8%. Year to date, operating expenses are below budget by just under $1 million or 1.6%. Vessel operations are up $1.5 million, and a lot of that has to do with the fuel. While we see the maintenance expenses under budget by $2 million or 14.8%. That number will go down for the last 3 months of the year. And some of that we'll see later today during some of the procurement items that were deferred from earlier in the year. Here's a breakdown of the operating expenses for the month of August as well as January through August. And Bob or I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. There.
Mark, where are all the parking facilities located? Are they just in Barnstable and Falmouth?
Katomet. So there's one in Katomet,
Yeah,
but other than that, that is correct.
so there's no island parking facilities, right?
Excuse me, there is one on Nantucket that holds, I think it's about 20 spaces, Allison, roughly about 20 spaces.
Okay,
But it's
And
doesn't play a factor in the total amount.
sure. And the line item for maintenance, is that maintenance just for the boats or is it maintenance for?
That's
grounds?
maintenance for both the facilities as well as the vessels and the vehicles.
Do we have a breakdown? You must have a breakdown of the difference between maintenance for the facilities as opposed to for the boats, right?
I do have one. I don't have it right in front of me, but I do have one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we could factor that in because after last weekend, it brings up questions about our budget for boat maintenance and that type of stuff.
Sure. I'll for next month's presentation, we'll put subcategories in for the main maintenance categories.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions, anyone? Looks like not.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Our next is updates on current projects.
Hey, I think Mr. Cloutier is on a Zoom, so I'll bring him over so we can do that.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Bill.
Let me turn my video on here. There we go.
There we go.
All right. So as you know, in September, Cashman mobilized the crane barge and they started working on the South Head Dolphin. You got pictures, right? Yep, here we go.
Got him up.
So this first shot is an aerial view of the South Head Dolphin, and they're starting the sheets for the cofferdam for the concrete pour. Next, Sean. This is a south passenger ramp. At that time, the pavers weren't completely installed, but on the top, on the canopy, you can see the little black spots where Cherry Hill, the glass installer, did warranty repairs on the gutter. Next, Sean. This is the false work that Cashman set up for the South Head Dolphin during the first week when as they arrived. Next. Just another shot. They're starting to wrap the false work, set the sheets inside the false work. Next. The rebar for the South Head Dolphin was delivered last week. Next, Sean. Yeah, these are the masons installing the pavers. This is complete now at this point. Next, Sean. You can see they completed and they're cleaning them up. They had to clean them up. There was some effervescence from the storage on them, but they cleaned them up with a power wash. Thanks. Next, Sean. This is a later view. We're hoping to start pouring later this week. The first pour of concrete, probably around Thursday or Friday. Next. Just another view of this structure. Today, the original contract was, as you know, 43 million. Today, we have about 13.5 million in change orders. That's a 32% of the original contract. The total contract at this point is 56.7 million. The water side estimate was 53.6 million, and so we're just over 3 million on the original estimate. Any questions?
Yeah, Bill, those pavers, are they set in concrete? Are they set in stone dust or some other aggregate?
So it's the base is an asphalt base, Bob, and then there's a polymeric sand or something that makes them waterproof, so that they spread into the cracks. If there's a picture that there was a picture of the asphalt base that we showed in the slide. Sean, can you swing back to that?
Yeah, 1 second.
Bill, while he's doing that, I'll contact you after this here, but I'd like to know what kind of waterproofing you do to the paving stones, because I'm about to do some of that myself.
Yeah, Bob. So we don't waterproof the whole paver. It's just the in the cracks we put this polymeric sand that makes them tight. It is waterproof. It expands. That polymer expands and makes it waterproof. But the paver itself is a hard set, hard paver. But you can see the asphalt base right in the middle here, Bob. That's what they set them in.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Looks like not. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So where were you about finishing up?
We're at the-
What's all
we're at the-
terminal I see?
Yes, we're to the SQMS. So I'll bring Angela over.
One thing Bill didn't mention is that we're up to 169 community email updates regarding the construction project in Woods Hole. The other item is that we're working on a date for the community input on the design development of the terminal. We expect that to be at this point, either the very end of October or the first week of November. But we'll be getting that information out here in the next day or two.
Bob, your video is frozen, so you might just want to turn off the video and leave your audio on. I think you're having bandwidth issues. Okay, you all set for Angela?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Angela.
So I'm happy to report the stakeholders have reviewed the SOM, our Support Operations Manual, and we provided all comments to the SQMS consultants for their review. And so we expect the next steps will go almost like a tennis match, where we'll receive the comments back from SQMS consultants, and then we'll add our necessary comments moving forward until we get a finalized draft of the SOM. I'd like to open up for any questions anyone might have.
Mr. Malkin.
Hi, thank you. Angela, in the SQMS system, and I haven't gotten all that drilled down as far as perhaps I might have, do we have a section in there on what routine maintenance is done on the vessels at the start of their trips or during the course of their trips?
So in the VOM and in the TFOM, we do have procedures for how we're handling maintenance.
So there is a checklist of routine things that are looked at on each voyage and at the start of each voyage?
Yeah, we have a series of checklists and that you must complete prior to the startup of the vessel.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Looks like no other questions.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have the dry dock
This is an
update.
update on the. Yep. I switched networks here, so if you trying to start my video, but it doesn't seem to be working.
We got it. Mark's coming on over.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mark.
We're finishing up on the Martha's Vineyard and Dry Dock at Thames Shipyard. And what you see is a photograph of the forward end of the vessel. We're doing some, this picture shows we're doing some steel renewal in the freight deck. And that is the final completion prior to deck coatings. And this is a photograph of the port propeller, which we've installed. And this is a photograph of the stern frame of the vessel prior to final coatings. So highlights of the dry docking, we put a new fuel oil purifier installation, overhaul of the bow thruster, and blasting coating of the freight deck, is including the outer coating systems on the underwater areas and superstructure. And this is a calculation of the where we are with the project. The original contract was 1.423 million. We've had 328,000 in credits, 265,386 in change orders. So a total contract credits and change orders 1.36 million. We'll be ending up here near the end of the project, so we should deliver on budget. And any questions, anyone?
Looks good. Any questions, Mr. Ranney?
Just more of a comment, really. I just want to thank Mr. Amundson and his team for the way that these things are bid and the contracts and the credits and the way they're coming in is remarkably different than how they used to be. And I think you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Malcolm,
everyone.
are you going to say something?
Well, I want to ask Mark something. I share exactly what Mr. Rainey just said. And I think the numbers of breakdowns have been shown the extent to which Mark and his team have done a much superior job. The one question I had for you, Mark, we had, as you know, some incidents over the weekend which caused some passenger confusion and communication chaos in the vineyard over the weekend, Sunday night, Saturday. To what extent do you think that the issues that we're experiencing could have been picked up while the vessels are underway, or are these issues that would have been picked up in preventive maintenance and regular dry docks? You know, I know the hatch issue and a few other things.
I'll talk about the Sankaty. We had a voltage regulator failure on the Sankaty. This would not have been, this is a new installation that was done just a few years ago. So although I'll bet the boats are a little bit older, you know, this would not have been able to be picked up in a preventive maintenance program. But I also like to point out, the Sankaty has had an outstanding record this year. Out of the just under 1,000 voyages, she's had 2 mechanical breakdowns, so the math is pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, the timing of the 2 incidents with the truck damage on the container was not, it kind of didn't bode well for this weekend on the island. We apologize for that.
No, I think you and your team are doing a really solid job. And when these things happen, of course, it doesn't look as well to the public. On the other hand, your record has been really, really good. And I appreciate the effort you put in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry about that.
Should we head into the proposed 2022 reservation timeline?
All right, so the staff just wanted to present the 2022 reservation timeline. This is for informational purposes. So when we open up for the summer, next year's reservations, the Head Start program reservations will be accepted from January 11th, 2022 through January 17th. So that's before the general opening. We'll be doing a general opening internet only for the Nantucket route, starting on January 18th through the 24th. Then the general opening, internet opening for the Martha's Vineyard route will start on January 25th through the 31st. Telephone opening and mail and internet opening will then open up on February 1st. And the deadline for Head Start transfers will be May 15th, 2022, or 30 days prior, whichever is sooner. During the general opening for the Nantucket, internet opening for the Nantucket route, our reservation office, we're going to have some extended hours. During this time period, we'll be open from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. on January 18th, the first day of the Nantucket opening, and then from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. the remainder of the week. The following week, the general internet opening for the Martha's Vineyard route, again, will be opened up at 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. on January 25th, and then from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. the remainder of the week. So that early startup, we typically start except doing the internet at 5 a.m. So we have our reservation staff in, so that way any customers find that they have any issues with their password logins, that they can get some assistance there. We also have they've laid out the fall reservations for next year, which would be from October 20th, 2022 to January 2nd, 2023. We'll be opening those. Those will open on June 20th. And then winter and schedules and spring schedules, which would be for 2023 at this point, would be opening on October 24th. In terms of the program itself, the Head Start is available for those customers that are profiled in our system as Allen Preferred or Allen Preferred Excursion Programs. They're allowed to make up to 5 reservations, either one way or round trip, before the general public is able to. 3 of the 5 reservations made during the Head Start may be designated as transferable. Transferable Head Start reservations, a transfer slip is that would then need to be sent in no later than May 15th, 2022, or 30 days prior to the scheduled departure of the first segment of the reservation, whichever comes first. The Head Start profile qualifications must be profiled as an Allen Preferred Excursion or Allen Preferred to get into the Head Start program. The profiles are valid for 2 years. So for the 2022 season, we'll be sent out renewal applications already to all customers profile whose profile ends in an odd number. So in preparation for next year, we send it out this current year. So anyone who has an odd numbered profile will be asked to update their information so that way they remain eligible for the excursion program or for the preferred program. The Allen Preferred Excursion Program, early this month, it was 13,778 participants in that program. About 66% of them, or just under 9,100, were profiled on the vineyard side, and about 4,500 were profiled on the Nantucket, for the Nantucket, with the island addresses on each island respectively. And again, as a reminder on how you qualify for that, you must be on the island's town street lists. So we get a street list from the town clerks to verify it. There's a copy of the driver's license with the island address and a copy of the vehicle registration with the island address. And we sent that information out a little over a week ago now to customers. For the preferred program, there's about just under 2,200 customers that are profiled as Allen Preferred. And for that, you're not on the street list, but you need to be providing us with copies of phone bill, water bill, cable bill, in order to participate in that program with an island address, along with a valid vehicle registration. Typically our office hours are 7:30 to 4 p.m. daily, with the exception of New Year's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas for the reservation office. We will be coming back at next month's meeting with a recommendation regarding the reservation-only days on the Martha's Vineyard route. We're still working on that. We're still working on the bird space and how those allocations are. So we anticipate coming back at next month's meeting with that information.
Is that a contradiction? How does the Islander Preferred Excursion Program have 2% with off-island addresses, but in order to be a participant, you have to have an island address? Am I misunderstanding something?
Yeah. Is Angela? Angela in the room still?
Yeah, she's coming over.
Hi, Angela.
Hello. So the excursion program doesn't require that you have an island address on your profile. It only requires that you have a island address on your Massachusetts ID, your driver's license, you're on the town street list, and that you have an island address on either the mailing and or garaging location of your vehicle registration. So you can technically have a mailing address off island and be in the program.
Gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Wish you could answer that.
Any other comments or questions from the board? So that's just for information purposes. We don't have to vote on this.
Correct. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know whether Russ frozen again.
All right. So it looks like there's no other comments. So our next topic is the treasurer and comptroller's report.
Can Courtney come up for that?
Hi, Mark. Hi, Courtney.
Hello again. So we're going to go over the 2022 proposed operating budget, and not much has changed since last month. I think there was one adjustment to a payroll accrual of just under $2,900.
No, sorry, 1 second. I need to share it.
Okay, so this year, we're using the baseline revenues for the previous 12 months ending August 31st, 2021. So that's September 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2021. We have made some adjustments, which we'll go over in the revenue section to reflect more of the current traffic patterns. Previously in the 2021 budget, we used 2019 data due to COVID. And we are not recommending any rate adjustments for the 2022 budget. Okay, so we're looking at projecting out operating revenues of just under 123,700,000, which is an increase of about 2.1% from the previous year's budget. Operating expenses of 119,650,000, which is an increase of about 6.2%. We can go over some of the highlights of that. Big driver on that is the price of fuel. Other income of about 8.6 million, other expenses of 3.5 million, which will bring us a net income of 9.1 million, which is just under last year's budgeted amount. And Courtney will go over the operating expense side.
Okay, this slide is showing the largest operating expense changes between the 2022 budget and the 2021 budget. Vessel fuel oil is up almost 2.18 million or 36.5% versus the previous year. We are budgeting $1.81 to $2.49 per gallon in 2022 compared to this year's budget, which is $1.75 to $1.88 per gallon. Currently, we are hedged through the third quarter of 2022. Next, we have payroll. It's up 2.1 million. This is based on the operating schedule and the current budgeted level of employees. Pension and benefits up just over $1 million. This is partially due to an unemployment expense increase of $450,000. The unemployment rate has changed from 1.8% in 2021 to 2.8% in 2022, an increase of 56%. Maintenance expense up $620,000. We have some additional details on the next slide. Before we get to that slide, though, I want to talk about training expense because a couple questions have come up. $776,000 has been budgeted for training expense in 2022, up $300,000 over this year's budget. Training next year will include SQMS training, bridge resource training, STCW, and oil response training, to name a few.
So that's in addition to these items, right, that are listed on the slide?
Yeah, that was just a question that had come up, so we wanted to highlight it.
Thanks.
So this is the maintenance expenses in 2022. These two categories are the main drivers of the maintenance expense increase. We will be dry docking 5 vessels next year for a total of just over 5 million, a cost increase of 258,000 over this year. The MV Eagle is budgeted for 1.3 million, the MV Island Home 1.1 million, the MV Ino 650,000, the MV Katama 825,000, and the MV Nantucket just over $1 million. Terminal Dolphin and dock repairs, almost 3.7 million has been budgeted for projects including dock repairs in Vineyard Haven, slip work in Hyannis, HVAC work in Vineyard Haven, tents in Nantucket for the passenger area, and pier decking in Oak Bluffs. The 2022 expense is $81,000 higher than the 2021 budget, an increase of 2.2%.
Okay, so here we're looking at what's coming on the operating revenue side. Projecting parking revenue increasing by about 1.9%. Freight revenue of about 1.7%, 1% or 1.7 million over the previous year's budget. Automobile revenue of about 1.4 million or 0.3%, and passenger revenue being down a little bit from the previous year's budget of about 445,000. On our projections, we did make some adjustments to the passengers and the vehicles. So for instance, on the Vineyard route, we increased the passenger ridership for the fourth quarter this year, because last year, people remember during November, December, we're in full flight of COVID again, where we didn't have any group gatherings. On the Nantucket route, we adjusted down the conventional ferry while adjusting up the high-speed ferry, where we have driver services back, where more people will be traveling on the high speed, as well as the previously mentioned reasons for the Vineyard run. And we also did adjust some of the automobile revenue projections down, where we took down some of the standard fare percentages and increased the excursion fare percentages on the fourth quarter as well. Here's a breakdown of where the revenue would be coming from. And here's a chart of showing how, where, and when we make our money. So you can see through January, so we have a breakdown by month, and then we have a cumulative aggregate net income in the dark blue line. So we, through the first 4 months of the year, we accumulated a deficit of about 12,250,000. Then in May through September, we turned positive, where we accumulated a net operating income of just under 17.5 million. And then we accumulate some more expenses, or operating a deficit for the last 3 months. And we'll end up the end of the year, if everything goes according to budget, at about $9.1 million for the year. And with that, Courtney and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Comments, questions from anyone? Mr. Malkin?
Yeah, Mark and Courtney, what portion of this budget causes you the most anxiety?
All of it. I'm worried by nature. Because you're looking at like last year, to projected that the revenues would have been so far off, which was, you know, historic. And then once you experience something, you're always nervous about it.
Right.
You know, we're looking at things where we're hedged through 3/4 of the year for the fuel oil. We have about 850,000 gallons left to hedge for the year. Right now, if we executed the hedges, it'd be about $500,000 roughly. We get supply chain concerns, but not only getting items, what is the price, but is that could affect shipyard periods and things of that nature.
Right.
And then overall, like everyone else, inflation. I mean, that's so it's hard to nail down one specific item, but you know, that's our job to worry about it all.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much for that report.
So we'd be looking for a vote for approval from the board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, and by the way, the two things I forgot to mention, my apologies. We did have an open house at the end of September. I believe there's roughly about 6 public attendees, and we had received no comments. And at the October Port Council meeting, they voted unanimously to approve that, as Joe mentioned earlier.
Well, do we have a motion to accept?
So
Is
moved.
that and a second, Ms. Tierney? Roll call vote.
Jones, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
Randy, I.
Tierney, I.
Wilson, I. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
So that brings us to spending the money now.
Yep. So the first item we have is to request authorization to award contract number 02-2021, redesign of the Steamship Authority's website and develop a mobile application. And Sean can jump in at a point here. Sean was the team lead on this project. He worked along with Kurt Van Riper, our Director of IT, Marketing Director Kimberly McHugh, Shoreside Operations Allison Fletcher, Reservations and Customer Service Angela Campbell, and Internal Audit Manager Kelly Conrad. They ended up having 16 proposals submitted. The multiple rounds of reviewing those proposals. They came up with 3 finalists, which was ADK Group, IMAC, and Valor. May not be saying that one correctly. But then that was prior to opening up any of the financial proposals. And then they opened up the financial proposals, and ADK submitted a proposal, total cost of $1,996,554. Just a couple $100 less than what IMAC had, and about 200,000 less than what Valor had. So the members of the group evaluated that, and their recommendation is for the members to authorize the general manager to award contract 02-2021, redesign of the Steamship Authority's website and development of a mobile application to the most qualified bidder, which is ADK Group of Boston, Mass, for a fixed price of $1,996,554. I should point out that along with this is obviously a big ticket item. We do have a grant that we've identified for this to fund this project. We'll get reimbursed. We have to pay the bills first, and then we seek reimbursement afterwards. So,
How
John,
much will the
anything
grant
to add?
cover?
80%.
That's great. And where's that grant come from?
That was from the Ferryboat Formula Funding Program. So actually, it's 1.5. It's a little over 1.5 million. So not quite 80%.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes, ma'am.
this is an area that I really would like the board to consider. Would like a very, very, very detailed contract, rather than just, the ones that we have that we pull off the shelf that get us in trouble. For this kind of money, I'd like to get a contract with somebody who's a specialist in these types of services. So I think that's money well spent. I mean, if we didn't learn our lesson with Cashman, we'll never learn it.
If I may, Ms. Tierney, just thank you, an excellent point. We have been working with a consultant on the development of the RFP of this project, Dave Jensen, who's with Regan Digital Studios. They're affiliated with our longtime advertising partner, Pierce Cote. He's been helping us and been excellent through this process. And I'm planning to ask Bob if we can retain him after the contract is awarded as a specialist as well to help us with the development of the contract and as an owner's representative, essentially, who's an expert in this area. So
Is he an
I'm a-
attorney?
no, he's a tech guy, so he's not an
Yeah,
attorney.
I want an attorney who specializes in this to write this contract.
I think that the tech points that Sean brought up, that's really important, but I agree with Ms. Tierney that from contractual and the legal responsibilities and so on and so forth, we do need something specific to this kind of situation.
I'll let Mr. Keneally chime in on that, but I certainly can see the validity of that.
Yeah, Moira, we can talk with the consultants that we retained, see if they have any referrals, and then I can
Perfect.
investigate. And then I can investigate and talk with them, and we can work collaboratively with them and come up with an agreement. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Perfect. As long as we have, like I said, as long as we have, outside counsel who specializes in these types of contracts, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But we need it. It would be sort of my goal going forward to, every time we come up with a new type of project, to sort of review and relook at our contracts.
Good.
Thank you guys for considering that.
Sure.
If I
So
may,
with this
Jane-
vote, do we
If-
need to I'm sorry, Sean, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to briefly review our committee's work about ADK for your information. So as Bob had mentioned, we did have 16 proposals and the project team spent almost 2 months reviewing and scoring all of those. It was a lot of work. 16 proposals is far more than we've received, I think, on any other RFP. So we were blessed with a lot of people to look through. And we met twice as a group to review those jointly and then evaluate each of them. We did select ADK Group, as Bob said. They're Boston-based. They have some familiarity with the authority in the area. They presented lots of good examples of prior work, including some work with travel in the travel sector that were very similar to the project that we're going to execute. Really a great presentation and good qualifications, and they were consistently at or near the top of everybody's list when we went through this process. We did due diligence on their references and financial checks, so they were at or near the top of everyone's list to start off with, and they stayed there through the process. So we feel very good about our choice, and I'm very thankful to the project team for all their hard work. It was a lot to ask, and they did a really good job on it.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, thank you for that background there. One of the things when I've been through this process before. The last one I had, there was 8 submittals and stuff, and we went through every single one of them and did our due diligence. And I can tell you, it is a tiresome, cumbersome job, and I appreciate that. But when I was reviewing this, asking for our vote, I get a little irritated when these companies come in and they give you have the questions they have to answer, and then they come in and they say, see screen 27, see screen 33. They'll make a comment. So a reviewer has to work to actually, if he's going to go and review all of those screens. So in voting for this in the positive, there's several reasons for voting for this, but we've got to pay a lot of faith and stuff in the due diligence that you and the staff and everybody else has gone through this. And so, I'd go through this, but I can tell you one thing, in reading through this, I don't know what they said. Really, it's just very complex, and I don't know anything, really about this web design, although I gave my 2 cents worth when they called and asked for suggestions. But anyways, thank you for doing this, and I'm really happy that we're going to get about 80% of this back. So, and I agree with you more. I think in some of these things, we need a little bit more due diligence on the contracts themselves. But once you get into a contract, you may find yourself without a bidder who cannot meet what we're asking. So that's a negotiating thing. So in any event, I'll leave it at that. And thank you for pulling this together.
Mr. Rainey, you wanted to say something, I think.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with what Mr. Jones was saying, but I'd also just, I mean, I went through their presentation pretty closely. And I would just say that they only mentioned Martha's Vineyard once, and they didn't mention Nantucket at all. So hopefully that your due diligence has sort of covered that. But, you know, we're sort of forgotten over the horizon over here, and I don't want that to be forgotten in all.
It certainly won't be.
Are we ready to take a vote on this?
Are you gonna amend
the motion
at all to include outside counsel to
for specialized contract?
Specializes in these types of contracts, yes.
We can do that, yes.
Great, thanks.
So let's phrase it how we're going to vote. Let's phrase it so we have it for the minutes then.
Okay.
I would take Mr. Keneally's suggestion on how to phrase it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I would just say to authorize the general manager to award the contract on the condition that outside counsel specializing in website and development design contracts be engaged to assist with the contract development and finalization.
I like it.
Beautiful.
Mr. Jones.
Off the top of my head. There you go.
Nice job.
In discussion and open for discussion, I just wonder, you know, finding a specialist attorney to develop a contract for a specific project and type of project might be hard to find. I think, you know, somebody that's into contracts and things like that, I think would be as qualified to do it. So I question the specificity, excuse me, of an attorney specializing in development of websites. If that's what you meant, Terry.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident, Bob, that we'll be able to find someone, especially in the Boston area, to assist us with this. I'm not,
okay.
I don't have any anxiety or concern that we won't find someone who's specialized in this area. I think Moira's idea is a good one, and I have no problem reaching out to those folks. So
great. Mr. Malkin, you wanted to add something?
It's not necessary, but software as a service is the biggest growth industry in the United States right now. And naturally, there are attendant lawyers, accountants, and all sorts of consultants and specialists all over the field. So we should find somebody.
Good. So it sounds like we're ready to take a vote based on what Terrence just presented to us.
I would move that motion.
I'd second it.
And do we have a roll call vote?
You voting on the motion or the whole? You should vote on the amendment first and then include it in the motion.
All
There
right.
was only one. There was only one motion that was included the amendment, so I don't think you need a motion on the amendment. Just the motion as presented.
Parliamentary procedure would have you vote on the motion. on the amendment and then added to the motion, but you can do it the way you want. Let's just get the job done, I guess. It's up to the chairman, your call.
I think that the motion has been modified and we can vote on it as Terrence presented it. So unless there's any further discussion, let's have our roll call vote.
Are you ready for me to lead the pack here again?
Well, I believe
Jones,
it's
aye.
by alphabet.
Malcolm, aye.
Any aye.
Tierney, aye.
And Wilson, I.
Just,
George.
if I may
Yes.
just, Madam Chairman, that I don't know, we've kind of set that precedent within ourselves. That's not a precedent of parliamentary procedure. In the town of Barnstable, they rotate. They start off with the number one person. There's 13 people, and the number two is the lead the next time, and number three the lead. So you can do it any way you want, but I would just soon have somebody else lead the pack occasionally, because I may not necessarily be totally enthralled with it, but you run the meeting. I'll just vote the way you tell me. So.
Well,
Not an
I'm
issue.
just leaving it open and whoever would like to vote first can vote first. Should we go on to
Mr.
the
Jones?
next topic?
I just want to clarify, Mr. Jones, you voted in favor. I didn't hear your vote.
Yes, I did.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So our next item has to do with the solar canopies.
Yeah. So requesting the members to authorize the general manager to award contract number 06-2021 solar infrastructure lease opportunity, Thomas B. Landis Road parking facility to Next Grid Inc. in Madison Energy Partners of Bedford, Massachusetts, as the responsible, responsive, and eligible proponent who submitted the most advantageous proposal for the contract for a total contract price of $9,595,692.38. So in terms of background, in the summer of 2020, the authority engaged the services of Jones Lang LaSalle to conduct a feasibility study for a solar development project at the Thomas B. Landis parking facility. Following their due diligence, Jones LaSalle, in their report dated October 5th, which was provided to the board at their October 20th, 2020 meeting, concluded that the site's physical conditions were suitable for a solar development, that the SMART program, which is the Solar Massachusetts Renewable Target Program, incentives were attractive for solar developers, that they already had a number of developers that were interested in developing the site. And at that time, they anticipated the annual rent would be somewhere in the area of $175,000 to $350,000 a year. And they did identify that one of the biggest obstacles is going to be the approval time and cost for the interconnection to the Eversource grid. Following that study, staff solicited proposals from engineering firms to assist the authority in developing and a request for proposals for qualified vendors based on their familiarity with similar RFPs issued by the Commonwealth and other municipalities for solar development, including the town of Falmouth. Staff engaged the services of Jacob Engineering Group to assist in the next phase of this. In May of 2021, notices were published in local newspapers and on our website about the opportunity. We had a total of 19 potential bidders were sent or requested the bid package. A total of 3 sealed bids were received as of the Thursday, September 9th, 2020 2021 deadline. Staff, along with Jacobs Engineering, reviewed the proposals. Recently, last Wednesday, October 13th, we conducted a site review of a similar project up in that NextGrid has developed up in Kingston, Massachusetts. And then during that site visit, there was clarification to some questions that had arisen during the review of their proposal. We've included the executive summary from Jacobs Engineering Group on the NextGrid proposal. In terms of the structure of this, the contract, there's an annual lease payment ranging from $415,000 a year up to just under $728,000 in year 20, which is a net present value of just over $8.9 million. In addition, NextGrid is proposing to sell electricity net metering credits to the authority, which in the aggregate would be the net present value of those would be another $654,000. So we're seeking for the authorization for the general manager to award contract number 06-2021 solar infrastructure lease opportunity, Thomas B. Landers Parking Facility, to NextGrid Inc. and Madison Energy Partners of Bedford, Mass. For a total contract price of $9,595,692.38. Subject to the confirmation that NextGrid must utilize the subcontractors, project developer, and construction supervisor as submitted in their proposal. And I know Sean, I think, has a couple slides that I gave him that if you want to conceptuals of what it would look like. So this is a conceptual of actually it's it's of the lot and showing the canopies. The canopies would be a minimum of 14 feet above the pavement. The NextGrid will, of course, have to work with the town of Falmouth on permitting the Falmouth Fire Department in terms of the height of the canopies. I think there's another one. So the proposal that they have and the discussions that we've had with them is that they feel that they will not have to reorientate the parking at that location, and the columns to support this are anticipated that they'll be able to be positioned such that they will be not impacting any of the parking spaces. They will have to be looking at the wind load and to make sure that these are anchored sufficiently. That lot is a porous asphalt parking lot, so they're aware of those restrictions as well. So they've in discussions with them, they're they've had some familiarity with those type of operations, and I think there was over 120 different installations that they've done so far. So, okay. So I don't know if you have any questions.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, I have a question on that specifically, and I'm looking at are there gutters on those overhangs, or do they just at some point just the rain just drops onto the cars at midsection or something? I didn't know if those gutters involved in those overhangs.
Yeah, so typically on those type of installations, there is small gaps between the panels. They try to get them as close as they can, but there is gaps, and there's not going to be any. We're looking at this not to have any trim underneath, because it helps the solar, the PV panels are more efficient if they're able to stay cooler. And so by not putting any structure underneath them, it'll help them keep cooler. We don't use this facility in the wintertime, so that was a question that had come up, whether there was going to be any requirement for gutters or any snow barriers. But since we don't use that lot in the wintertime, we told them that that's not necessary for any snow barriers. So and you are correct, there will be no gutters because there will be, during a rain event, some water will be getting through the panels anyways.
Okay.
Mr. Jones.
I have several questions here on this. I looked into this for a large building that belongs to our church, which is about the buildings of the size of a basketball court plus seating and stuff like that. So it was a fairly large problem. But I just want to ask a few questions. So now the lease is payable to us. This isn't where we're. Excuse me, go ahead.
So yes, they would be, their proposal is that they will be paying us an annual lease of starting at $415,000 a year. And by year 20, it gets up to just under $728,000 a year.
Okay, good, thank you. Another question. Once they build the infrastructure, who owns it?
They own it. There's included in the contractor agreement will be a provision for the authority to take ownership of that should we choose to, but there's going to be a requirement that they have a bond so after 20 years that if they need to be removed, that they would be obligated to do so.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because that was our next question. What happens after 20 years? Most of those, there's an obsolescence in solar panels. They decrease efficiencies every year. They don't become usable, but their efficiencies decrease. But that's a problem of the owners and things. And tying in with a bond and stuff, that would tie in with more as concerns about getting somebody that when we do our final contract with these folks here, that we have somebody knowledgeable in this field. This is a very complicated field. They're quoting, I think it was Eversource or whoever, having a kilowatt hours or something like 9 cents or something like that, and they say it's going to a straight line for 20 years. Well, that's not the case, because electricity is sold and bid on daily by the big grids and stuff like that. So some places that have generating plants don't even work when there's no bid out to be filled. So when they say a straight line and they're adjusting their prices up and down as to what the power purchase agreement is, that gets a little unstable for when you're a ratepayer. And so when they go in, unless you tell me differently, there will be adjustments, maybe with every bill or whatever, as to what our responsibilities rate. Is that true or false, Bob?
Yeah, so what you're referring to is the second piece of this, in addition to the lease that they're proposing that they be able to sell us back or some energy credits in addition to this. The proposal, yes, it was a straight line, and they're based on what if the cost is lower, it becomes a more positive. If it goes higher, it's less of a savings. So
More positive or negative to our purchase agreement.
yeah, for that
Of
portion
what
of that portion of their proposal. So that
Okay, and
again,
so this will, I'm sorry, go ahead.
and this is about $650,000 over the 20 years that they anticipate. There'd be a savings coming back to the authority.
Okay, so anticipation is in most of these agreements here is assumptions. And I've read 2 or 3 of these things, and they are assumptions. So there's no, specific number that they'll give you and say, we will sell you this for 20 years. They just, first of all, couldn't do it and come out alive. But I would just like, I would really like to, well, let's go back. You said it's estimated that would there be something like it would be worth somewhere around $600 and some odd thousand. And is that an energy credits to us?
That would be energy credits to us off of our bills.
Now, when they're building these, they get about a 30% tax credit, and solar panels get, I think, something like 26 federal tax credit percent, and that will only go to the developer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's an exciting project, but I hope when we're reading through this that we don't know what the final figures will be. It can be up or down, and I still don't. They're picking a straight line, 9 cents. It isn't straight line. It's up and down, and that will reflect upon our, what we'll end up, when we draw a line at the end of this. So these are assumptions, and the straight line, as I see it, is low, because right now Eversource is 12 point something. The solar panels, that's the energy cost. Things like offshore wind and stuff like that is out of sight energy costs, but they're using a very low, what I think is a very low denominator to calculate the differences, which I think it said in there, it's a plus or minus, just like you said. It'll affect us negatively, or it'll affect us positively. So with that low, they said that's constant. Well, it probably is, because the energy cost is so much higher than what they're putting down here. So now, again, we had a feasibility study, we hired an expert, and you guys have reviewed it. I would really like to see what the power purchase agreement is going to look at, because the power purchase agreement will give you the details of government requirements and everything that goes with it. This is, to me, is not a power purchase agreement. This is strictly a bid, and I just personally would love to see that in front of me to know exactly what I'm voting on.
I believe the power purchase agreement was included. I think it is, yeah. Second, let me look through my package here. If it hasn't been, we can make sure that the board receives it.
There's no agreement in this package.
Doesn't look like I attached it, so. It was part of their proposal, so we can get that for you.
And you're asking for a vote here, right? On this, on the cover page, it says information, but that's a mistake.
Yeah, that's a mistake. It should be a vote, yes.
Okay. And so there's no cash outlay from us. This is the anticipated return on leasing the property for the solar canopies?
Yes, that they would have they'd basically be leasing the air rights above the lot, and we'd be getting this revenue stream coming in. The idea being is that they're aware of the construction limitations, and that we use that lot in the Memorial Day to Labor Day primarily. So, but by the time they get the interconnection agreements with Eversource and the units, the steel, and the solar panels themselves ordered, that they're looking at those being available late August, September, so of next year. So we would conceivably be having construction starting right after the summer of next year on that lot for these units.
And has this been reviewed with Falmouth zoning or planning, or do we have any context for it in terms of Falmouth?
Yeah, so those will be on the developer to work with the town building inspector, and we don't think there's anything in terms of conservation, because it's already a developed property, and it's 19 acres of asphalt. But I think they'll have to at least present something to them as well. So, and as I said earlier, that they will have to work with the Falmouth Fire Department on what regulations and restrictions they may have.
Okay. Mr. Malkin.
Yeah, it seems to me that there are all sorts of regulatory hurdles as well as practical hurdles and operational hurdles and details that have to go into this. But what I believe we have here is management's request that we authorize them to move forward with this electrical panel installation. And we have to accept that the appropriate governing bodies, as well as our management team, will do what's appropriate to see that this complies not only practically, but also fiscally in the advantage of the Steamship Authority. So if that's what we're trying to do, I'm comfortable with moving forward.
Mr. Jones, you had a comment?
Yes, I still have a couple of unknowns here to me. It seems to me they did their figuring on something like 40,000 kilowatt hours. So did I read that in there somewhere? It really doesn't matter. That is supposedly our usage. And my phone just went off, so I lost my train. But that is a usage. Does that is that our total use for all of our facilities under with the Steamship Authority? And if we do solar panels in Woods Hole, will that figure change? It's just a figure. But the other question is, in doing this power purchase agreement, it should say, I believe somewhere in there, that are we going to purchase all of our power, from this outfit here? Sorry, I can't think of the name, but are we going to just purchase a portion of our power? And if we purchase all of our power, will they guarantee that they can supply this power no matter what? And usually that's written in there that some contracts would call for the provider that if they don't meet that because of who knows, a windmill falls down or something of this nature, that they guarantee us those rates, even though we go commercial on it. So in any event, I guess that's something for the whatever consultant or whoever develops the power purchase agreement. That's something to the verbiage to that effect be included. At least I would like to see it.
So I don't have who the participants are in the audience. Sean, is there a Dan Engel? Is he there?
I don't see one, Bob.
Okay. He wasn't sure whether he was going to be able to attend. He had a meeting with the Commonwealth on another project. So, these are all good points that we can bring up with our consultant as we, finalize these details with NextGrid. I think the 4 million kilowatts that we have is, off the top of my head is fairly close to our energy, the total of our electric bills for the mainland locations. We do Cape Light Compact. We have to put those numbers together for them because we participate in that program. So we'll be need to look at that as well on what obligations we have with Cape Light Compact.
Okay. Thank you. I don't want to take any more time, but this is the only time we'll get to talk about this. So it's the appropriate time with all present. So
Yeah.
I may have further things I'd like to call you on perhaps.
I think in general, it's a great idea. As I recall, there were some flooding issues and the abutters were adversely impacted. Do I remember that right?
When we first built the lot, there was an issue with a heavy rain event that the water was, when it was coming down at a rate faster than the asphalt could absorb it, that there ended up being a puddling issue at the bottom of the lot adjacent to the town transfer station, which overflowed and which went off out of the parking lot and went down to an embankment. That issue has since been resolved. We went back and put a underground system. There's a pump station down at the end of there that as the water comes down, it's supposed to percolate. When it rains, it's supposed to percolate through the asphalt. If there's any that ends up coming all the way down the lot, it goes into a pump system, and which then pumps it back up to the top of the lot, so that way it can go through and percolate again. So I think it's that happened the first year or two that we opened up the lot, and we've since resolved that issue.
Any further comments, questions? It looks like you need a vote on this, right?
That's correct.
So moved.
We have a second? Mr. Manny? Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
Manny, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
Jones, aye.
And Morris stepped out. Wilson, aye.
All right. Ms. Tanny's
Maura, do
coming
you want to
back.
weigh in on that vote? You're muted.
Yes, aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that.
Our next one is for the dry dock of the Island Home.
Yes, so want to request the members authorize the general manager to award contract 14-2021 dry dock and overhaul services for the MB Island Home to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Senesco Marine LLC of North Kingston, Rhode Island, for a total contract price of $1,365,748. The Island Home is scheduled for a shipyard January 11th of next year through February 24th to undergo Coast Guard hull exam, rudder, propeller shaft maintenance, and coating maintenance on the underwater and superstructure, as well as any structural steel renewals that need to be done. They're also going to be working on the bow thruster and the bow and stern doors. And we do have a modification to the marine evacuation system doors, as well as the anchor windlass. So the operating budget estimate for this, including those items, was $1,150,000, just under $1,153,000. The discrepancies in the was an additional line item for the bow and stern door, as well as the bow thruster inspection and maintenance. So packages were sent out to 10 shipyards. We had 2 bids received, and we requesting that the board authorize the general manager to award contract 14-2021 dry dock and overhaul services for the MV Island Home to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Senesco Marine LLC of North Kingstown, Rhode Island, for a total contract price of $1,365,748.
So before we have any discussion, is there a motion to accept this?
Approve.
A second? Mr. Jones, any questions or comments from anyone? Ms.
Kate,
Tierney?
may I?
Yes.
Yeah, there's $100,000 difference between these two shipyards. And the latter shipyard, we seem to have had a lot of good luck with in the past several projects. The former shipyard we've had, is that the one that Carl Walker works for?
I believe Mr. Walker works for them, yes.
Okay, and we've had some issues with Senesco. So I guess I want an analysis as to, I recognize the lowest and most responsible bid, but is a bid that's $100,000 more than a bid from a company that we've had issues with in the past, not the more responsible bid? I don't know. I mean, what's the analysis? It's very disappointed with Senesco.
So we have sent, since the issues that we had with the Martha's Vineyard, we have sent other vessels to Senesco for repairs and overhauls. Their proposal met the requirements for it to be a responsive bid. And thus the staff is recommending that they be awarded the contract.
I'd like to add in also that I think it's important for us to have multiple dry dock companies that work with us in the event that we have a situation of emergency dry docking. Also, we've done contract modifications and increased the liquidated damages to $10,000 a day for late delivery and other contract modifications. I feel comfortable to go with Senesco Shipyard based on this, as we do need to develop another good shipyard other than Thames Shipyard.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Any further discussion or questions? All right, would anyone like to start a roll call vote?
Falcon, aye.
Jones, aye.
Tierney, aye.
And Wilson, aye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right, so next we have a request from the members to authorize the general manager to award contract number 15-2021 dry dock and overhaul services for the MV INO to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Thames Shipyard and Repair Company of New London, Connecticut, for a total contract price of $566,659. The INO is scheduled for dry docking January 10th through February 15th of next year. for a hull exam, some jet and shaft maintenance, the interceptor eye control overhauls and coating in the underwater superstructure. The budget estimate that was prepared for this was $649,771. And the differences are as a result of the removal of the jet bearings that we needed to pre-order those. So those will be owner furnished equipment in order to meet the dry dock date. So we need to have that order placed. So 14 shipyards were sent a package. We had 3 bids come in. And so we're looking for the board to authorize the general manager to award contract number 15-2021 dry dock and overhaul services for the MV INO to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Thames Shipyard and Repair Company of New London, Connecticut, for a total contract price of $566,659.
Do we have a motion? Mr. Jones?
So moved.
Second? Is that Mr. Rainey?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
Malcolm, I.
Jones, aye.
Tierney, aye.
And Rob, you already voted, did you? I missed it. Wilson, I. Moving right along. Oak Bluffs and the Vineyard Haven Pile Wrap Project. Sounds like a new
Okay,
band.
so we're looking for authorization to award contract number 16-2021 Oak Bluffs and Vineyard Haven Power Wrap Project to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Coastal Marine Construction LLC of Stoughton, Mass, for a total contract price of $1,419,524. We had hired a consultant, Waterfront Structural Consulting, back in 2020 and also in 2021 to perform underwater evaluation of our Oak Bluffs Pier and Vineyard Haven dock for the condition assessment and life extension recommendations. Their recommendation was that approximately 46 pilings here in Oak Bluffs and 4 pilings in Vineyard Haven to be wrapped with a high density polypropylene material to mitigate the wood borer damage to the wooden pier pilings. Excuse me. In the area, what they'll do is at the base of those pilings, they'll water jet out below the mud line and wrap those. Furthermore, in Vineyard Haven, we have 1 piling. It was recommended to be encased in concrete. And then we have some aluminum anodes that need to be attached to the steel pilings in Vineyard Haven. The budget estimate for this for 2021 was 88,000, excuse me, the 2021 budget estimate for this was 88,000 for Oak Bluffs and for Vineyard Haven and 967,000 for Oak Bluffs for a combined total of 1,055,000. This is one of the projects that we want to accelerate here into the fall. Some better weather to be doing this than in January and February. So we want to get that done this fall. The difference is due to the expanded scope of what we originally were expecting to be done. We sent it out to 22 companies. We got 5 bids. And so our recommendation is to authorize the general manager to award contract number 16-2021 Oak Bluffs and Vineyard Haven Power Wrap Project to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Coastal Marine Construction LLC of Stoughton, Mass, for a total contract price of $1,419,524.
Do we have a motion to accept this, Mr. Jones?
So moved. So
Second?
moved.
Second,
Any questions?
I just have a quick,
Yeah, Mr. Rainey.
I've never heard of this before, but it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what they, the inspections, particularly over in Vineyard Haven where the wood pilings are underneath the pier. It was very hopeful there on that, but this will be able to extend the life of these pilings for, obviously it's still a lot of money, but it in the long run, I think it's worth it. And I think, Mark, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, from the technical side of this, we've done the complete inspections, and this is for life extension, as Bob had reiterated on. And this is a preventive maintenance program to extend the life of the pilings. And what it does is these wrappings deprive oxygen to any of the wood borers that are there, and they die within the pilings, and it prevents entrance of the wood borers. So I believe for the long term, it's a very good program.
Mr. Jones.
Didn't we do some of that work last year when we worked at Oaks Bluffs and the pilings, either concrete or whatever this wrap is?
We did a bunch of new pilings during that time period. These are other pilings that were in satisfactory condition.
Okay, I thought we did some concrete work on the pilings before.
Yes,
That
sir,
was
we
sort
did.
of emergency. That was sort of emergency work, wasn't it? Necessary in order to open the season?
Yes, it was.
Last spring and a year ago this spring and again in the fall. So this is the same company that did perform that work.
I see. And how long does this remediation work, the mitigation work? What's the proposed or expected extension?
Well, I think this immediately stops the wood borer. I believe the life expectancy of wooden pilings is approximately 50 years. So we may be at times in the future doing more of this work as we do surveys, but this is for life extension of the facilities.
And they're already how old? So what are we looking at?
These are, well, in Vineyard Haven, they're 40 years old, and they're more than 40 in Oak Bluffs. So we are looking at this, and we're doing surveys every 5 years of life extension to develop our plan.
So if there were no borers, then we might have a 50-year time span overall, and we're getting close to the end of that. So then presumably in the next, 10, 15, 20 years, we're going to have to do replacements, probably?
Yeah, so a good portion of the Oak Bluffs Pier was rebuilt back in the around 2008, 2009, but there is sections of it that remain that are older. The Vineyard Haven terminal, meanwhile, that's when we rebuilt that facility. As Mark said, it is coming up on about 40 years on that. So and we will be coming back at a later date. We have some decking issues that we need to address in Vineyard Haven as well. But the first step was to start dealing with the pilings. We're looking at transfer bridge replacements there, just like we are at the Nantucket terminal, where we're going to be swapping out those bridges with new bridges and gallows. We need to do that. There's some fender work that needs to be done in Vineyard Haven as well.
Ongoing stuff.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Just one quick question to Mark. Are these pilings all green heart, or are they treated softwood or hardwood pilings?
In Oak Bluffs, they're green hard. In Vineyard Haven, they're the creosote.
Okay.
Is there any environmental impact from this wrap?
It will be. It's going before COMCOM, and so this is all installed prior to. So the answer to that is no.
Any other comments, questions? Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
How can I?
Tierney, I.
Randy, I.
Jones, aye.
Wilson, I.
Jones, aye.
Thank you.
All right. And it continues. Request, we want to request the members authorize the general manager to award contract number 17-2021. Hyannis Terminal Roof Replacement Project to the lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Capeway Roofing Systems, Inc. of Westport, Mass. For a total contract price of $522,000. Consists of replacing just over 7,700 square feet of asphalt shingles and the underlayment and the flashings. The troughs that are there right now to capture the rainwater will be repaired and reused. But there is some fascia cornice trim that needs to be done. We hired as part of the requirement, we have what's considered, they're called house doctor architects. Those are pre-selected by the Commonwealth's Designer Selection Board. So they did the engineering on this. They also come up with an estimate on what the cost was going to be. Their estimate on this project was $525,000. This was a project that originally was scheduled to be performed earlier in 2020, but was put off because of cash concerns during COVID. At that time, the estimate was only $270,000, but we didn't have the, a full evaluation by the house doctor at the time that budget number was prepared back in 2019. So we did send out 9 bid packages. We got five responsible bids, and we're looking for the board to authorize the general manager to award contract number 17-2021, Hyannis Terminal Roof Replacement Project to lowest eligible and responsible bidder, Capeway Roofing Systems, Inc. of Westport, Mass. For a total contract price of $522,000.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
How can I?
Tierney, I.
Jones, aye.
Randy, I.
And Wilson, I. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have requests voted the board to authorize the general manager to execute change order number 62 for contract number 09B-2012, contract for final design and construction administration services with BIA Studios LLC for a fixed amount of $398,500 to cover construction administration phases, including inspection and testing services for the period of October 1, 2021 through February 28, 2022. So this is because of the continuation of the marine side of this project. We're looking to extend that construction administration portion of the agreement. And this would, at this point, they're expecting the construction to, this would cover us through February 28th, 2022 for the construction administration. So the staff is recommending that the members vote to authorize the general manager to execute change order number 62 for contract number 09B-2012, contract for final design and construction administration services with BIA Studios for a total fixed cost of $398,500 to cover its construction administration phase services, including inspection and testing services for the period of October 1, 2021 through February 28, 2022.
And this is specific to the water side part of this project?
Yes.
First, do we have a motion to entertain this?
So
Motion,
moved.
second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, then, let's open it up for questions, comments. None being heard. Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
How can I?
Kearney, nay.
Jones, aye.
Randy, aye.
Wilson, nay.
Okay. So next we request the members to authorize the general manager to purchase jet drive replacement parts from Craft Power Corporation of Woburn, Mass. for a total contract price of $133,923.52. Craft Power Corp. of Woburn is the sole regional source for Hamilton jet parts for the MV-INO's propulsion system. These are parts that are required while we're doing the dry dock at the this coming winter for the MV-INO. The 2022 operating budget estimate for the for these drives was $135,000. So we're asking the board to authorize the general manager to purchase replacement parts for the MV-INO jet drives from Craft Power Corporation of Woburn, Mass. for a total contract price of $133,923.52. So they're essentially a sole source. The way it works is they divide the company up into regions, and the only certain vendors are authorized to provide OEM parts, replacement parts for, in this case, the jet drives for the INO.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions here? Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
How can
Kearney,
I?
aye. Oops.
Jones, aye.
And Wilson, aye. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. So that gets us through procurement.
Hallelujah.
Next, I just wanted to provide a quick update regarding the Long Range Vineyard Transportation Task Force. Earlier this month, I had an opportunity to meet with the new executive director of the New Bedford Port Authority, along with Ms. Tierney. Had a discussion with him regarding what role he may be able to participate in the Long Range Task Force. He was going to be hopeful that he'll be at the very least be able to participate in some of these meetings. But the issue, the other issue here was that it was raised by one of the members of the task force, Mr. Cahill from the Vineyard here, that he would like to see another member from Falmouth, from the Falmouth EDIC, join the group as part of that group. And so we want to see what the board's pleasure is in that regard, and whether there should be another person weighing in on this. And as a reminder, at last month's meeting, the task force will be assisting us on developing a draft for the RFP for off-Cape freight services.
Mr. Malkin.
Yes. As I indicated in our prior meeting, I think that our communities share the issues of growth and the issues of conservation and character and so on and so forth. And given the fact that we're going to be looking at New Bedford and developing a request for proposals, one of the things I talked about with Mr. Cahill was it would be good to get someone from Falmouth who also was involved in economic development to help the board in terms of looking forward and how we proceed with this. there were some discussions, I believe, with people in Falmouth, and this gentleman was recommended and was vetted, and would be, in my opinion, a good addition to this long range, whether it's a task force or a working group, or whatever it is, to that group. Thank you.
Task force.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I don't want to fall back on my comments of the last meeting, but I still, I don't like necessarily the idea of the task force putting together a RFP for this type of service. That's our job. We're all appointed by the legislature to do our job as members of the board. And we also, by legislation, have the Port Council. This is taking out of the hands that perhaps we should be doing and generating. Usually everything that we handle comes from management.
Mhm.
And management, it goes to the Port Council and it comes to us for a conclusion. Now we've got another board. And so where do they fit in this whole thing? Pre-management, pre-Port Council, pre-members? I really don't know. I like the idea of involving the public and the community, but it's taking on, a whole new posture, I think, by saying that they will develop an RFP, if I'm reading, your statement correctly. So I have some concerns with that, and I've asked since day one, and I never have been able to pin down exactly what the mission or mission statement of these respective boards and how they're going to handle their recommendations. And I don't think I'm necessarily being too critical. It's not that I personally am looking for any more work, but the fact of the matter is I think there's a responsibility of what our charge is. And if we're just throwing that whole thing off onto a citizens group, now we should probably have a Nantucket citizens group and a Hyannis citizens group, and who knows what we put together. I mean, it would be completely, I think, out of control. So I think this is a bigger question than just yes. I'm totally, I have no problems with adding another member from Falmouth. But I just think we ourselves need to get our hand around this of what we think our responsibility is, and it should not be usurped by, a citizens group or anything else. We've got to be able to make judgment calls, without necessarily, various groups. Right now, we're from Woods Hole and stuff. I mean, we've got traffic committees, we've got, petitions, we've got the noise people and stuff like that. It seems like we got enough public input to know what they don't like and what they do like. So anyways, I just throw that out for conversation, and I will hold by my statements, what convinced me to the difference.
Mr. Malkin.
Yeah. Someone should correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that this group will make suggestions to management, that management will then evaluate those suggestions and determine what it feels is the appropriate first to the Port Council and then to the board members. Now, if that's incorrect, I would love to know.
No, that would be the process. We'd be, trying to, utilize that group for ideas on how best to structure a request for proposal fully anticipating that we would then bring that back to both the Port Council and the board for any additional input or any modification before that request for proposal would be put out on the street. So they're assisting management in that regard in developing this with by being able to have perhaps a greater vision.
Well,
Mr.
okay,
Jones.
yes, that's all fine. But when they're developing that RFP, there's a lot more than just, emotional comments. We have to look at, our dollars, our cents, our budgets and things of this nature. And suppose they come up and say, well, okay, we can't do this without a subsidy. The steamship should subsidize it, or the steamship should collect the tickets, or the steamship should do, provide dockage and different elements that are all going to have to come into being. So now this starts at here at citizens, which don't have necessarily an inside handle on what we know and what we have to deal with on a regular basis, making recommendations for it. I mean, it almost seems like, how much expertise do they have other than, perhaps personal or emotional issues? I don't know. So
Well,
I know I've been a critic, and so I'm still being a critic.
the current task force has a number of people who are representative from the town governing bodies. And to add somebody from the EDIC seems like a very appropriate addition. So it's not a random group of people. I think there's some self-selection that's going on here, but really it's a focused discussion of some issues that affect all of us. And we get the benefit of having them work through some of these questions, and we can listen in and learn from it. And ultimately we make the final decision. So we haven't abdicated that responsibility or authority at all.
Correct.
Right.
Right, Matt? I'd
Yes.
also say to Bob Jones's concerns, in listening in on the Port Council meeting at the last meeting, there was discussion, it was very clear that the Port Council, in its role as fiscal and financial advisor to the board members, would have to vet any proposal that came from as a suggestion from this task force or as a recommendation from management that would then come to them and to the board. So that was discussed at that Port Council meeting.
Okay.
Okay, to continue this conversation is how many people or how many members actually tune in to these meetings? I had to lose, yeah, and I have, but you don't, first of all, I don't know where the minutes are of these things. They're probably in there somewhere, but I couldn't come to attend the last one, which I really wanted to, but I was away. And so where is our benefits coming if they're not going to come, with a specific recommendation or something like that to management to deal with? Or is it just through osmosis? I don't know. I mean, I will, for the question involved of adding somebody from, Falmouth, I have no problem with, but I just don't want it to get out of scale. So.
Do you need a vote on this, Bob? Or is this discussion sufficient?
I think previously, when we came back to have the board authorize adding someone from the Martha's Vineyard the Dukes County Commissioners to the task force. We did have a vote, so it would be
Okay.
helpful for the vote.
All right, so our vote is to add a member from the EDIC, Falmouth EDIC.
That would be correct.
Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
Do we have a motion?
I don't think we have a motion, Wilson.
Mr.
Say that
Ray, I
again,
think
Rob?
made the motion.
Yeah,
We
all
don't
right.
have, we don't have a motion in the second yet.
Make a motion to that effect.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And the roll call vote, please.
Milk and I.
Any aye.
Wilson, I.
Kearney, aye.
Jones, aye.
All right,
Okay.
not the last.
Yeah, I just had one other item under old and new. Just a clarification, correction. One previously, earlier this year, when we provided the board with the schedules, the draft schedules for approval, there was an oversight on the January 5th through March 29th schedule for the Martha's Vineyard route. In that, we identified that the vessels running would be the Island Home and then be replaced by the Nantucket. But there's actually a time period that both those vessels will end up being replaced by the Woods Hole from June 25th, February 25th to March 29th. The MV Woods Hole will be running in place of the Island Home and or the Nantucket. So that was just a correction. I just wanted to point out that we were remiss and didn't identify that earlier.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
Yep. Ms. Chairman,
Yes.
before public comment under old or new, as some of the members may be aware, we had some breakdowns on Saturday night and Sunday that impacted a lot of people traveling to and from the island. And there has been a fair amount of discussion and concern at the communication to travelers from the authority during the course of Saturday night, Sunday. I had asked Bob if he could share with us the proactive communication that was taken by the authority, as clearly some people didn't hear or didn't know how to handle the information that was provided to them.
Okay.
So, Bob, can you speak to that?
Yeah. So on Saturday evening, late Saturday evening, Sean was able to post a travel advisory to our system. In that, he identified anyone who is signed up for the travel alerts would be receiving them, and he had specified those morning trips that would be impacted by that. So over 8,300 emails were sent out that evening around 11:15 that night, advising once we knew what was what the status was going to be. We sent out over 8,300 emails. Sean also posted those messages on our website. There was a travel advisory on the banner that's for our website that evening. The following morning, the ticket sellers, when they arrived, they also posted cancellations and cancellation notices. There was a total of on that day, there was 17 instances of notices being sent out, and in each case there was at least 8,200 emails that were sent out on each one of those issues. In addition, on Saturday evening, Sean posted on our Facebook account the advisory about those early morning cancellations for the next day. And then later in the day on the 17th, once the Sankaty was cleared, He updated the advisory there that the Sankaty was now running. And then in addition to that, there was a number of posts that were made to the Steamship Authority's Twitter pages. So if anyone did not get any of those informations, that if they're not signed up for our travel alerts, I would recommend that they do so, or that they can follow us on social media pages, our Twitter account, our Facebook account, or on our website. So there was a fair amount of emails, texts that were sent out in regards to this. So.
Thank you.
Going back, I had a question about the EDIC. Has someone actually been selected at this point?
My understanding is that Doug Brown had, had reached out, as he's a member of the task force, and he'd reached out to an individual at the EDIC whose name escapes me at the moment. So apologize for that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ranney.
Just on this communication, when these events happen and, we're trying to communicate with people, nobody knows what's going on. It's one thing that's really important is to have a consistent message coming from the workers at the terminals, because a lot of times people are going up to somebody, asking them what's going on, and they're getting a different answer from everybody. So it's, if there's, I don't know if there's a way to make that happen, but I've seen it over here from time to time. It's, getting a consistent message out is really important. And I don't know how to get everybody who, working at the terminal on the same page. It's very important.
Yeah.
If I can follow in on Mr. Rainey's comment, that really was part of the issue, I believe, in Vineyard Haven as well. The different messages coming from different people around the terminal. And I absolutely understand when you're rushing to try and crew support vessels, new vessels, and you're rushing to try and get them into a rotation, there aren't answers in terms of, well, when am I going to leave the island? What boat can I get on? You don't have that answer because you're trying to staff and provide service. On the other hand, consistent messaging from the people on the ground is really critical to keep the credibility of the information you're providing. So thank you.
Yes.
So what's our chain of communications when something like this happens? What are the mechanics of sharing information?
Well, in general, if there's an issue with the vessels, Marine Ops, or the Operations Center, we'll send out there's a message to a group, myself included, Mark, the port captains, Allison, reservations, advising that there's an issue. We'll have, whether it's discussions, whether it's a group call, or whether, people are, knee deep in resolving the issue to get updates. But Sean is also involved. We get Sean involved early in this, so that way he can start putting together what messaging needs to go out. I think with the approval of the website, and granted, it's going to be some time. It's going to take some time for the development of that, but one of the goals there would be to be able to push on the mobile, with the mobile piece of that, to be able to push these messages out to even a wider array of people that there's an issue. At that point.
How does the information get passed along to people at the counters? And the people on the docks, our employees. How does that information get disseminated?
So on the dock side, it's the agents would be making the notifications to ticket sellers. The ticket sellers have the ability to post diversions, delays, cancellations. And that's actually, that's where that primary, in this case, over 8,000 emails each time that they did that, it gets generated from it. So they identify it as a particular trip and, put in that notice. So, they're working with the terminal manager, terminal agents on getting those messages posted.
Yeah, and what happens is whoever the agent is on duty, I will personally call them and give them the information, as well as send out emails as well for the others that will be coming in, and I follow up. I also reach out to reservations and Angela, so they know what's going on as well, and they're not left in the dark.
Mr. Malkin.
Allison, one thing, because what people have told me is that the terminal managers, assistant terminal managers have been very, very helpful. If there's a way to let people know if there is someone's going to their father's funeral, or someone's trying to get medicine to someone who's been medevaced off, if they know where to go to get attention to those issues, that would be helpful, as opposed to asking, say, a parking lot attendant who might not know.
Right, and we are trying to look into those two specific situations and find out where they were getting their information from, because as of now, the agents on duty were never approached on this.
That's what I assumed. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Any more discussion about the issues we've had on the table? Looks like we've got 2 people in our public comment list. Sean, you want to supervise that?
Sure. Suzanne?
Suzanne, you're muted.
Suzanne Kuffler, I live in Woods Hole. I manage the petition, and I wanted to update you on that. There should be a copy in your packet there. Since last month, when we reported the numbers, we have an increase of 82 signatures. The total is 642. And I feel very strongly that the public input to the steamship is very important, because we are a minority in terms of the voting power, and our representatives do what they can for us. But we need to keep pressure on you to pay attention to our issues. I realize you're doing that in many regards, but we just have to keep it out front, because our lives are affected every day by what the steamship does. And I was happy to hear that there's another engagement meeting, but it says here, the contract for the final design, and one of the parts of the petition is a smaller and more compact architectural design. We still would love to see a change in that regard. I do think that progress can be made in the traffic management. There are many issues. And I do support the working groups, because they do think through a lot of issues. It's very impressive, the attention they pay to these topics. So I just wanted to make a comment and make sure that the public, one person at least from the public who attended this meeting, has presented some points of view. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne.
And Mr. Salzberg.
Hi, good morning again.
Hi.
Hi, I've got a couple of questions for Mr. Amundsen if he's available.
Yes, sir, Rich.
Hi, good morning, sir. Am I correct in my understanding that the hatch on the Katama that had a problem was called a void 2 hatch?
That is correct.
What's the utility, if I may ask, sir, of that hatch, and what failed on it?
The support ring underneath the truck had connected with that, and the support ring failed.
Was it impacted by something, or is that just rust and wear and tear?
What combination weight of the truck?
I see. And is the vessel still in Fairhaven?
Yes, it is. We're getting ready to send the Sankaty to dry dock at Dames, and we'll be swapping out in the next day or so.
Okay, so yeah, so it's just over there for that hatch.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and and I think you explained on the the Sankaty, it was a problem with one of the generators.
Yes, one problem was with the manual voltage regulator.
And was that was a fairly new component?
Yeah, the generators were replaced in the past few years, and it was a relatively new component. That's correct.
Sure. And is the cost of that substantial enough that it might be a warranty thing, or is that just a typical dollar and cents repair?
We carry spare parts, and we had a spare manual voltage regulator that we installed. So it is part of our maintenance period, in such that we have the spare parts to replace in case of failure. There's really no way of measuring, the life expectancy of the component.
Sure. And sorry to switch back to Katama. Is that hatch thing something that may cause you to look at other similar hatches on other vessels, or was that a unique failure on that vessel alone?
We look at these as part of the statutory dry dock and our shipyard periods.
Sure thing. And when you were mentioning the piling work that was going to be done in OB and Vineyard Haven, you mentioned anodes in Vineyard Haven. Could you describe those a little bit, sir, and maybe at what intervals those are replaced?
Yes, we have in Vineyard Haven, we have a combination of wood pilings and also steel pilings for the dolphins. And as preventive maintenance, the anode prevents electrolysis, and it's a sacrificial anode, and one that we replace on a time period. As a result of our dive survey earlier, we identified pilings which are due to be changed out, and we do the same in all of our terminal facilities.
And so is the purpose of those anodes to help with the electrolysis that may affect the steel pilings, or also the vessels?
No, just the steel pilings. The vessels have their own anodes.
Oh, sure thing. Much obliged, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for the board to consider? Then I'll read my statement. Everybody's ready? I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and approve the minutes of the authorities' meetings and executive session on September 30th, 2021, to discuss the authority's strategy with respect to collective bargaining matters and security matters, because a public discussion of these matters may have a detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating and bargaining positions and security plans. These matters include anticipated and ongoing negotiations with the unions, Teamsters Union Local 59, SEIU Local 888, and MEPA, and all the authorities' represented employees, and a memorandum of understanding with the United States Coast Guard. The public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the purposes for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion of the executive session, we will reconvene in public. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second.
May I have a roll call vote?
Malkin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Randy, aye.
Wilson, aye.
So just to remind everybody, I sent out last night an email with an invitation for a Teams meeting. So you need to sign off of the Zoom, sign into the Teams meeting for executive session, and then we'll return to the Zoom to conclude the public session, because I need to leave this Zoom running because we're going to have to come back into public session.
Okay.
Right.
Again, we sign out of this meeting here.
Yes. And then click on
And then-
the link that I sent last night for the Teams meeting, and that'll be the executive session.
Okay, and then we'll come back into.
And then we'll come back
re-sign
into
in.
the- Yes, correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See you in a few minutes.
All right.
Okay. So before you is management recommends that the members vote to authorize the general manager and the director of human resources to execute a tentative new collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local number 59 regarding the terms and conditions of employment for the authority's licensed deck officers as described in the staff summary, and to take all necessary and appropriate actions to implement and fulfill the authority's obligation under the new agreement. So, and I don't know whether everyone's had an opportunity, had an opportunity to review the proposed, the tentative collective bargaining agreement. If there's any questions, be happy to answer. Not hearing any?
So this is the agreement that has been come to between management and the licensed deck officers?
That's correct. It's a 3-year contract. We are proposing that it be retroactive to the expiration of their prior contract, which was July 30th.
Do we have a motion to accept this as presented? That's a yes, Mr. Oak. Do we have a second?
Second.
Would anyone like to start the roll call vote?
Malcolm, I.
Jones,
Tierney, I.
Rob, you're muted.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Randy, I.
And Wilson, I.
Thank you.
So I think that is the end of our business for today, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Rich, do you have your hand up? Rich, you are muted.
Oh, yeah, no, I do have my hand up if I can ask a follow-up question.
Please go ahead.
Can you at all discuss the a memorandum that was listed in the executive session agenda in general terms at all, or any terms?
Rich, we had technical difficulties and we're not able to review those issues at all.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you.
If there's nothing else, should we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Malkin,
Moved. Moved.
do we have a second?
Second.
And roll call vote. Anyone can start.
Malcolm,
Tierney,
I.
I.
Jones, aye.
Randy, I.
And Wilson, I.
Driscoll,
Thank
aye.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Live long and prosper. Onward.
Be well.